War is evil. It's a devastating reality that we must acknowledge. The recent events in Gaza have sparked intense debates and misinformation. As we navigate this complex situation, it's essential to separate fact from fiction and acknowledge the harsh realities of war. A harsh reality check. If there are more people in Gaza now than before October 7th, 2023, it's challenging to claim genocide. Yet some still perpetuate this false narrative. The numbers speak for themselves. Before the war began, Rafah Governorate was home to approximately 275,267 Palestinians. However, due to the influx of people fleeing from other parts of Gaza, it's estimated that over half of Gaza's 2.23 million people are now crammed into this governorate. This dramatic increase in population raises questions about the legitimacy of claims regarding genocide. If the situation were truly genocidal, would we expect to see an increase in population? The answer is no. Genocide implies the intentional destruction of a particular group of people, which would result in a significant decrease in population, not an increase. A stark example of this can be seen in the devastating genocide perpetrated by Germany during World War II, which resulted in the systematic murder of over 6 million Jews. The impact of this atrocity was so severe that it took the Jewish population decades to recover and regain their pre-war numbers. This tragic event serves as a poignant reminder of the true nature of genocide and its catastrophic effects on populations. It's essential to recognize that the situation in Gaza is complex and multifaceted. While there have undoubtedly been civilian casualties and destruction of infrastructure, it's crucial to acknowledge that the IDF's approach, though imperfect, has sought to minimize harm. Just like in any field, you'll find individuals who uphold the highest standards and those who fail to meet them. Similarly, among soldiers, there are those who adhere to the rules of engagement and others who may engage in unacceptable behavior. It's essential to hold those individuals accountable for their actions, just as we would in any other profession. This is not to say that the IDF is without fault, but rather that their actions must be understood within the context of a broader conflict. A historical example that illustrates this complexity is the bombing of German civilians by England during World War II. While England's actions were part of a larger war effort, the devastating impact on German civilians was undeniable. This example highlights the harsh realities of war, where civilian casualties can occur despite efforts to minimize harm. It's essential to acknowledge these complexities when evaluating conflicts rather than simplistically assigning blame or assuming clear-cut moral absolutes. In contrast, if the US or England had taken action against Hamas, the consequences might have been catastrophic. The military might of these nations would have undoubtedly resulted in a significant loss of life and widespread destruction. It's essential to acknowledge this reality and recognize that the IDF's approach, though flawed, has sought to avoid such catastrophic consequences. A crucial aspect to understand is that most wars involve parties that value human life. This shared value often provides a foundation for negotiation. However, when dealing with extremist leaders who interpret their religious beliefs as requiring the eradication of a particular state or people, the situation becomes more complex. In the case of Islamic extremism, the belief is that the existence of a Jewish state, such as Israel, contradicts their prophecy of the end times. According to their interpretation of the Quran, a Jewish state cannot exist. This belief system leads them to value death over life. In contrast, the Israeli people, including Jews, Muslims, Arabs, Christians, and others, value human life. This fundamental difference in values is essential to understanding the conflict. The recent events in Gaza have highlighted the dangers of misinformation and the importance of seeking out credible sources. As we navigate this complex situation, it's essential to approach the topic with nuance and understanding. A closer examination of the situation reveals that approximately 80% of Gazans support Hamas, with many hostages being held in civilian homes. Meanwhile, the minority who oppose Hamas, less than 20%, require protection. Acknowledging these realities is crucial in understanding the complexities of the conflict and forming a well-rounded perspective. So, what can we do? First and foremost, we must seek out credible sources of information. However, it's essential to acknowledge that many reputable news organizations and academic sources have been proven to be biased and untruthful on multiple occasions. Similarly, fact-checking organizations have also been found to provide false information at times. Therefore, it's crucial to approach all sources with a critical eye, considering multiple perspectives and evaluating the evidence presented before forming an opinion. Second, we must approach the topic with nuance and understanding. This means avoiding simplistic or misleading narratives and instead seeking to understand the complexities of the situation. Finally, we must recognize the humanity of all individuals involved in the conflict. This means acknowledging the suffering of innocent civilians in Gaza, as well as the fears and concerns of Israelis. As we move forward, it's essential that we prioritize peaceful resolution and avoid perpetuating harmful or misleading narratives. Only through nuanced understanding and a commitment to peace can we hope to create a brighter future for all individuals involved in the conflict. To achieve this, it's crucial that groups like Hamas, which have been designated as terrorist organizations, be held to democratic standards. This includes holding open and fair elections, allowing the Palestinian people to truly have a say in their governance. The last time such elections took place was in 2006, and it's unacceptable that those who dared to compete against Hamas were silenced or disappeared. We need to ensure that any future elections are free from intimidation and coercion. This may require international supervision, similar to what we saw in Germany after World War II. The UN, unfortunately, has proven itself to be ineffective and biased in such matters. Instead, we should consider alternative solutions that prioritize the well-being and democratic rights of the Palestinian people. Let's strive for honesty, nuance, and compassion as we navigate this complex situation. Only together can we create a more just and peaceful world. A final note. As you consider the information presented here, I urge you to remember the importance of critical thinking and independent research. Please don't just take my word for it, or anyone else's for that matter. Instead, take the time to seek out credible sources, evaluate the evidence, and form your own opinions. It's essential to approach sensitive topics like this with an open mind and a willingness to challenge your own assumptions. Remember that it's okay to change your mind or adjust your perspective as you learn more. Ultimately, the truth is not always easy to accept, and it may challenge your deeply held beliefs. But it's only by embracing the truth, even when it's uncomfortable, that we can hope to create a more just and peaceful world.